Marley from the Energy Boutique with your energy forecast for Friday, July 30th. So today, the moon is going to be in Aries for the bulk of our waking hours. It is going to go void, of course, around 4:38 p.m. and lock into Tauran energy at 5:08 p.m., again, Atlantic Standard Time. So just a heads up, anytime that we move out of Arian energy, that of course had us riding high, had us excitable and passionate and fired up to take action and make moves and jump into new experiences. When we shift into Tauran energy, which of course is an earth energy, we feel that shift. We come back down from flying high. We have to kind of ground ourselves out, get centered once again. We have to focus on our routines, on getting back to, what is old and tried and tested and true. There is a comfortability that takes place when the moon is in Taurus because we want to just focus on our physical bodies, our physical realms, our physical environments. Where the moon in Aries kind of had us all fired up to take moves and make serious action towards bringing new dreams to life, the moon in Taurus kind of settles us down and gets us refocused on what needs to happen in our day-to-day life right now before we go ahead and start dreaming up a new vision, a new goal for the future. Another thing I want to throw out here is that there's 10 cosmic aspects taking place today, and the moon is involved with 7 of them. We are also moving into the releasing stage of manifesting, meaning that we are coming to grips with certain information, certain details, certain emotions, certain thoughts that we now know is preventing us from moving forward. Now, we will be, with the moon in Taurus, we will be moving towards the last quarter moon taking place tomorrow morning. So this is an energy building for us to recognize where it is that essentially we got to get out of our own way. So the moon in Aries early in the morning is going to bump into Saturn. This isn't a huge scene. However, it's enough for us to realize where there is an aha moment taking place. Yes, we were grounded out as the day ended yesterday. Yes, we had to come back down to earth. Yes, we had to settle a little bit. And now we're having a little bit of a perspective shift, mostly because, of course, Saturn retrograde in Aquarius is trying to illuminate for us the roles and responsibilities that we have in life in order to really absorb the life lessons that are being thrown at us. And we've had a lot of aha moments and revelations take place over the previous days, especially where accepting and acknowledging our own role in our relationship power struggles have been concerned. We're recognizing where it is that we've allowed things to happen in the past that we're no longer willing to let happen in the future or in the present moment. We're recognizing where it is that our fears and our insecurities have been blocking us from truly aligning with our new calling, with our new path, with our new purpose. And because of this aha moment, there is a shift. Not only in our mental plane, but recognizing where it is that, we realized yesterday where it is that we had to boss up, but then things got out of control again, and then things got heavy again. Now it's time for us to take an inventory, take a stock on our emotions and regain control over them, stabilize them. The moon in Aries goes ahead and bumps into Neptune in a retrograde in its place of power in Pisces. And this is really going to be a little bit of a sensitive aspect, and here's why. We're starting to realize that we have to have empathy and understanding for ourselves first and foremost. So we've been hashing out a lot of, past patterns and behaviors, especially where we given our power away, where in our relationships we've allowed certain things to happen that we don't want to happen anymore. And first and foremost, we have to have compassion and empathy for ourselves, recognizing that we likely picked up a little bit of conditioning as children where our self-worth, where our self-esteem and confidence is concerned. And we have to have a true understanding that we did the best that we could in that moment with the amount of knowledge and wisdom that we had. When looking back, when rewiring our brains, our memories, our energy, when we are rewriting the script of past pain and trauma into a better script that we can actually do something with to regain our power, we have to understand that we have to love ourselves through the dysfunction. We have to love ourselves through the mistakes. It's easy to look back on your life and see where it is that maybe you messed up, where it is maybe you chose wrong, where it is that you made the wrong decision. It's easy in that moment. But in that moment, you were making the best informed decision for yourself in that particular circumstance. Had you been standing in that moment knowing damn well that in 2 years you were going to be kicking your ass for making the wrong decision, do you think you would have thought that that was the right decision to make? No. So you got to have a little bit of love, a little bit of understanding for yourself. This is really going to trigger us to move inward, to really open up our intuition, to tap into our higher self, to tap into the big vision of the spiritual lessons that we're here to learn. This is going to help us look back on the past with a different set of eyes, bringing forth all of the energy that we likely have been using to tear ourselves down to now build ourselves back up. The moon goes ahead and bumps into the true node after this aha moment of empathy and understanding takes place. And yes, the true node wants us to look to the future, but we can't get to the future without reworking the past. We have to understand that moving to the future means that we're going to have to act, behave, operate in different ways than we did in the past. We just had this beautiful moment where we looked at our past selves making decisions and making choices in that moment that turned out to, in hindsight, be the wrong ones to make for us standing here in this present moment looking back. And now we have to understand that we have to rework our mental plane. We have to rework our heart space. We have to rewrite that script so that we recognize here in this present moment that we can't act that way. We can't take that emotional baggage with us. We can't take that mental perspective with us moving forward, because the dream, the vision that we're looking to manifest requires us to act in a way that we haven't done before. You cannot pray for something different and expect to not have to shed ways of thinking, ways of feeling, ways of behaving. If you continuously act the same way, you're only ever going to get what it is you've always got. So if we're dreaming bigger, if we're wanting bigger, if we're desiring more, we have to boss up and recognize that who it is that we have been and who it is that we currently are have to change. We have to boss up and level up to the vibration and the frequency of our dreams and of our vision. Otherwise, we would be living the dream and the vision right now, right? This is about growth. This is about evolution. This is about, first of all, accepting and acknowledging that we were doing the best that we could in the past with the information and knowledge that we had in those circumstances, and that now we see things differently. So the moon is going to go ahead and bump into Venus in Virgo. Now, you may remember from yesterday's forecast that Venus in Virgo was a little bit conflicted, right? She had to do a lot of reflection of the past, reflection of her values, her self-worth, her relationships, and how they are mirroring her own thoughts and feelings back to her. So Venus at this point is pretty unsure, pretty undecided on what to do and where to go from here, because it's very overwhelming. There are a lot of attachments, especially in our personal relationships right now, that we have to disconnect from. When we think about our future dream, our future vision, some people that we're currently living with and interacting with on a daily, they're not a part of it. So one may question, well, how do we get rid of them as we move towards our goal? And that is what Venus in Virgo right now is all about. Trying to zoom in on those details, trying to see what that dream, what that vision looks like, who's there, how you feel, how you're interacting with the people that are there, noticing who is absent from that dream and that vision, who is very much present in your day-to-day life right now, recognizing when you truly align with yourself, passing the ego and truly aligning with your higher self, who you're being called to create space and distance with, and who it is that you're being called to strengthen the bond with. That is a good indicator on who needs to stay and who needs to go. Who needs you to pour into them a little bit more and strengthen that bond and strengthen that relationship and strengthen that foundation so that they are around to create the dream and create the vision that you are trying to manifest for the future. And who just simply needs to be deleted out of this particular scene of your life, out of this particular chapter, create a space for new like-minded people to take up that role. So the moon in Aries squares Pluto retrograde in Capricorn. This is really not going to be a good aspect for us, especially with Venus and Virgo unsure, undecided, uncertain about how we are going to terminate some relationships and strengthen some other ones. And because of this kind of downward spiral, this negative Nancy narrative that we're in, this Plutonian energy is just going to intensify our uncertainty, our insecurities, our vulnerabilities. It is going to illuminate where it is that we are stuck in the pain and drama cycle of certain relationships, of certain patterns and behaviors that we 100% have had a hand in creating, that we no longer want to be in, but again, we don't know how to escape from. This is going to feel very dark. It's going to feel very intense. It's not going to be a fun thing. However, in this moment, Venus and Virgo bumps into Pluto, and there is an emotional power conflict taking place. Yes, we're feeling it within ourselves because our heart and our head doesn't really agree right now. Our present moment and our futuristic dream don't really match up right now. Again, Venus and Virgo is undecided, uncertain, very unstable at this point. And this particular conversation between Venus and Virgo and Pluto retrograde in Capricorn is kind of putting a huge focus on the loop, on the narrative that we have been allowing to run within us that has constantly kept us in relationships, in power exchanges, where we are constantly letting other people have the upper hand. This needs to happen. It's not going to feel nice to let our minds go here. It's not going to feel nice to have this emotional tensity take over us. It's not going to feel good to recognize that we could have pressed stop to this looping narrative at any time, but we chose to press play. It's not going to feel good. And in that moment, Venus and Virgo bumps into Saturn. What does Saturn want to do? Wants to give us a real good reality check. He wants to pep talk us by breaking us down in order for us to have a breakthrough. He wants us to sit in that negative narrative. He wants us to sit in that intensity of realizing where we do not have control over our emotions, where it is that we've given our power and control away to other people in our personal relationships. Why? Because Saturn wants us to learn the hard way. We're humans. That's the only way we tend to learn, is the hard way. The only time that we ever want to make change is when we can't endure the pain and suffering anymore. So this is kind of a tough love life lesson that we have to go through right now, being totally consumed and engulfed with the negative narrative, the pain, the pressure, the cycles, the toxicity that we've been repeating likely since our childhood in every single relationship and friendship that we have chosen to pour into. So the moon in Aries, this is the last aspect that the moon in Aries is going to make, is actually a good one. It's a sextile with Jupiter retrograde in Aquarius. And what this does after we've sat in the darkness, in the pain, in the suffering, in that negative narrative, looping over and over again, our past pain, our past situations where love is concerned, where we've given away our power, where we've had to have that tough love life lesson thrown at us, this is the moment that it changes. Because Jupiter wants to show us that we deserve more. We want more, we deserve more, right? But that is going to require us to be a different version of ourselves, because we've already reflected back on the past. We've already connected the dots on what needs to stay, what needs to go, who needs to stay, who needs to go. We've already done that mental torture. And now Jupiter just wants to show us that we have to build ourselves back up again. We have to be optimistic. We have to be confident. Venus and Virgo, of course, wants to really hone in on the problem, which of course is us. We are the problem. We've created weak boundaries in our personal relationships, and of course, then had the audacity to complain that we get treated awful when realistically we've taught these people how to treat us. So whose fault is that? It's ours. And that is a hard pill to swallow. But Jupiter wants us to recognize that we can grow past this. We can expand our mind past this. We can break that cycle. We can break that loop. We can press pause on that negative narrative. We can rewrite the script. It is basically a hype girl, hyping us up, boosting our confidence, bringing us back from that dark place that we've been sitting in just in time for the Sun in Leo to bump into Neptune in a retrograde in Pisces. What does this do? It illuminates for us where we are leveling up, where we are building ourselves up, aligning with our higher selves, with our intuition, with the cosmos, where there is a certain level of awareness and enlightenment that is now coming over us. What is enlightenment? It is an aha moment where we realize we can do better. It is an aha moment where we realize where it is that we are busting free of old toxic cycles. We are enlightening ourselves to the next level of information. Once you know something, you can't unknow it. So the Sun in Leo, of course, is illuminating us, pouring life force into us to be brave, to be courageous, to be confident, to be the best version of ourselves, to go out there and take life by the horns, to pour into anything and everything and whoever makes you happy because you deserve it. And that Neptune energy, of course, is our spiritual connection to our higher selves, to the divine source. This is not only going to bring us back in a very positive, optimistic, and confident way, it is going to push us so far within ourselves that we have a meet point. A meet point is an aha moment within yourself where you meet the higher octave of who it is that you have been. When you understand that you need to operate in a different vibration and a different frequency in order to get a different outcome. This is going to be a beautiful breakthrough moment. And in this moment, the moon locks into Tauran energy. The very first aspect that the moon in Taurus makes is with Mars, now in Virgo. This is Earth on Earth, right? Taurus is Earth energy. Virgo is Earth energy. Taurus is very concerned about stabilizing foundations, sticking to routines, taking care of the physical form, pouring into self-love, boosting up our self-worth, our self-confidence. And of course, Mars in Virgo wants to take action, rearrange some things, reprioritize our values, restructure our day-to-day life, our routines to allow for us to pour into ourselves to balance the equation of our mind, body, and soul. This is going to be a very sobering energy because it brings us back down to earth. This is where we reflect on the previous days and where it is we've been all over the place and where it is that things have gotten a little bit crazy, a little bit chaotic. This is where we ground. This is where we center. This is where we come back into our physical form instead of letting our mental planes get the best of us, our heart space get the best of us, our futuristic dreams and visions get the best of us. We need to be in our physical bodies, in this physical form, in this present moment. We have to stabilize. We have to regain our footing. We have to find stability in our actions, in our routines. This is why the moon in Taurus, we usually kind of retreat from the world. We kind of stick to home. We stick to what's cozy. We stick to what's comfortable. Why? Because we have to nurture ourselves back to a stable emotional place before we continue onward and upward, bringing our futuristic dreams and visions to life.